Alright guys, such coming again. I hope you're doing well and enjoying your day so far. OpTic versus FaZe once again delivering major storylines as we move into 2026 after all the drama over this winter break period with Alluka getting signed on the sub bench. Questions were very serious. Would this AR duo deliver or they might get dropped imminently? Well, the old CEO of OpTic who renounced that title relatively recently was back at it again today. Big storyline certainly on the OpTic side as well. Drazah calling out Shotzzy for his words back in December when he said that FaZe, as far as he was concerned at the time, were particularly terrible. That does not quite look the case today. Loads of other storylines in this series as well. Very much enjoyed your thoughts in the comments. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always. All that good stuff. Drazah tweets out the Grim Reaper emoji or whatever it is, like the gif here on the timeline. So he's getting ready to go. I don't know what his record is after having tweeted this out, but I'm pretty sure he's done it before. Usually it seems to end pretty well. Let's just dive in, right? Because the first drama of this series was the NPC. We talked about it earlier today, the GA that the pros have done, but as soon as the game started, it was very clear that, hang on a second here, Shotzzy, while Huke has got the Dravik in hand, Shotzzy has the NPC back at it again. So what's going on? I thought the pros banned this gun. Now, maybe this is all a long-term play from Shotzzy here to be like, okay, the NPC actually isn't very good. I want it in, and I'm going to prove it's not very good by getting absolutely pissed on with it all series. Now, what I was a little bit surprised at is, okay, first of all, he used the NPC. We thought it had been banned, but there's quite a lot of drama about how they got to this point, which teams were actually in favour and which weren't. Apparently for this series, those teams, OpTic and FaZe, had agreed that they were just going to use it anyway. So, because maybe they'd been using it a little bit in practice. Shotzzy clearly had been pulling it out a little bit, but I don't know if Scar is the map for it. I think this is the major question. I know he was starting off 2-0 here, but it didn't go as quickly, as good as that for the rest of the map. But Scar is probably not the map for the NPC, and it was pretty clear watching Shotzzy probably overuse it this series. Well, I mean, almost certainly overuse it this series compared to the Dravik, which is still very much so a do-it-all. Yeah, the NPC is really good up close, but that's kind of what an SMG is meant to be, at least historically. It's not good at range. It's not good at mid-range, really, either. There are maps, there are hills where it's a viable weapon. I don't have an issue with that. I don't think the pros should either. Clearly, watching this series, the NPC is not this crazy overpowered gun, because otherwise Shotzzy, given the fact that this guy is one of the greatest players to ever do it, would not be dropping a 0.6 with it in hand a large period of the time. Now, look, there are lots of questions on Shotzzy's performance, and to be fair, Huke's performance so far in this game called Black Ops 7, given that there were, well, and still remain, very high expectations, but I think especially of both of those guys, right? The idea that Huke and Shotzzy as a sub-duo get to go on a game which is even more advanced moving than before, you probably would have expected them to get only better. That was not the case today. But FaZe, they did this last year. I know it's a different team, but over that winter period, Christmas, New Year, they put in more work last year than anybody else did. And I think with the Alluka signing situation, that will have likely been the case again. We saw Drazah grinding a fair bit of 8. I'm sure the other guys were doing so as well. And also just playing the game at that. Now, FaZe did get beaten by Thieves the other week in December, but even outside of that, they looked pretty good, looked like they were continuing to make some progress, and it now seems like we're seeing that in reality, because OpTic were on the verge this series of breaking. Okay, there was some debate on whether it was really the CDL win streak or not. The reality is that's no longer a conversation, because if OpTic won today, then if you include EWC, they tied FaZe's all-time win streak record. That was not the case after today's result. But it is a key talking point that both Drazah and Abuzah, especially game 1, were absolutely on fire. I mean, Drazah has not really had a good map since Black Ops 7's come out. Map 1, he drops a 43 and 27 performance on OpTic's head, and this is what happens, right? Drazah needed this in many respects. People were talking about Drazah, was he going to get dropped? Is he going to be out for Alluka? Look, maybe there's a world where it still happens, right? But the reality is this is a real important series today. It does raise some questions on whether Alluka has made the right call. Now, FaZe have made the right call. They've brought in Alluka, clearly. That has inspired a level of play to jump to an extent among Abuzah and Drazah. But now it means that Alluka's sitting there on the bench of a team that just 3-0'd OpTic and is looking pretty good going into a major, when Alluka maybe could have had an opportunity from Thieves, right? These are the questions that are going to do the rounds over the next couple of weeks, if, of course, this continues. It's one series at the end of the day. OpTic, I thought they were probably going to win the overload, to be honest, right? I was surprised. I mean, OpTic losing map 1 was a bit of a surprise, but okay, it happens. Again, this is what was being threatened before the Christmas break. OpTic had a good start. They started off 3-0, but many of those series were a little bit sketchy. They required Mercules to bail them out. We've seen it before. And as I said at the time, it's like, look, you can't just rely on Mercules winning you every single series by dropping some insane stat line. It's not going to happen all the time. And I'm sure that many OpTic fans out there, they've kind of seen this before, right? Come back from break, look pretty unprepared, right? It's happened to OpTic in the past. Maybe there's a feeling that, oh, with Merc it's going to be different, but FaZe were clearly far better prepared for this series than OpTic were. That doesn't necessarily mean that in a couple of weeks' time at the major it's going to be a radically dissimilar story, but who knows, right? It's OpTic's home major at the end of the day. They got to lock in for it, and it could be an important wake-up call because, yeah, there's Bows and Scump say, damn, like, fair play, the CEO got us, whatever, and they took the victory today with a hot 3-0. The number's not pretty, right? I mean, this has got to be Shotzzy's worst series in a long time, and he's not had a great start to Black Ops 7. I think he was sitting at basically a 1 flat. Huke, I think it's also a similar thing. After today's series, I mean, if we look at Huke's overall numbers here so far in this game, he's sitting at a 0.88 overall. It's not been a great start for him at all to this title, especially given that going in, he was considered, we had him in our power rankings of SMGs before the game had started, right? Before any matches were played, as the best SMG in the game. I think Simp has clearly taken that crown as of late. You could argue Neptune, right? There's other candidates maybe. But look, Shotzzy 0.6, right? I mean, it's very rare you're going to see a series this poor, but Shotzy's not had a great start. Again, fair play to him. He's pushing the narrative that the NPC doesn't need to be GA'd. So hopefully this performance of Shotzzy will actually make that a reality. But I don't think, of course, it was part of his plan to get slammed today. Both at a respawn, he gets destroyed. And yeah, Drazah, Simp, I mean, Drazah ended the series with a 1.3. Abuzah ended the series with a 1.38. So FaZe were firing on all cylinders. And, well, they were also firing on all cylinders when it came to the trash talk after the game was over. So Drazah, this is actually a pretty good tweet, right? As he says, just OpTic, not at champs. Hashtag CEO. So, look, when we've seen Drazah play OpTic and OpTic in general at champs over the last couple of years, there's only been one outcome. But as Drazah says, look, okay, it's an online qualifier at the end of the day. It's not the biggest deal in the world, but this did mean something to these guys, right? This was important in terms of momentum, especially for Drazah and even Abuzah, arguably. I don't think Abuzah was ever going anywhere, but with Alluka coming in and Drazah underperforming, there were questions. I doubted very much that Drazah would not turn it around, if you see what I'm saying, right? Like, he's been such a quality player for so long that his start to the season was unexpectedly poor, and also his end to last season wasn't great either, and this is only one series at the end of the day. But it certainly is a sign of, look, Drazah can still do this against OpTic, who still consider them to be the best team in the game, I guess, until proven otherwise. But it's still the talking point of the day. Now, especially motivated Drazah was because of this. So back on the 17th of December, Shotzzy says, most of the other teams are terrible. Thieves have some idea what they're doing, but FaZe are just absolutely awful. Now, we talked about this at the time when Shotzzy said it, and it's pretty inevitable that Drazah, having heard this, was going to make a note and say, okay, the 10th of January, is it? That's when we play against the boys on OpTic. Well, maybe I'll take a note of that. So let me share this clip, and then, of course, Drazah's reaction where he was not holding back from making it very clear exactly who he was calling out with this result.
I feel like Thieves is pretty inconsistent at it. FaZe, I think they're just shit right now. Yeah. I think Toronto's a good team.
Whoa. Can we back that up a little bit? Because this is some insider knowledge that I wasn't privy to.
Shotzzy said it on stream. He said that FaZe is shit.
Who is the loudest mouth over there? Who's feeling confident in Texas that you shut up today?
I feel like it's Ant, to be honest. Like, I think when they're streaming their scrims, he'd be saying a little too much. It's kind of been pissing me off. So I showed up today, and here's what I do.
Why they poke the CEO?
Yeah. Hey, you know what?
Yeah,
We are going into Texas. It is going to be the first.
Pretty remarkable slump from Shotzzy in the sense that his KD and hardpoint is 49th in the league. So we've had, what, 49 players. I mean, I guess Slashers also called it a day now in addition to Lqgend, but like Lqgend at a 0.77, Shotzzy's behind that with a 0.74. So pretty impressive to be that far down. It's not going to last, right? I mean, Sib started out last year drawing 0.70, quickly turned it around. But I think if you're an OpTic fan, you will have understandable concerns. Being like, okay, this needs to start turning around and kind of quickly because, yeah, they weren't expected to lose to FaZe today. It can happen, but getting 3-0'd, especially continuing a bit of a trend we saw in December of the team looking a little bit shaky, needing to get bailed out by Mercules. He can't always do it, especially if, well, as Brandon Dashy says, bad day from us. So they've got Vancouver Surge tomorrow to bounce things back, which they will need to do so against a team that also took the victory. Now, it's a big deal for Abuzah and 04. I think they pretty much take their first important victory against OpTic in this type of situation. FaZe get back on top in these moments. What does it mean for Alluka? It's another crucial question as well that will be answered further down the line as to whether he made the right call or not, because as we know, Thieves was there potentially for the taking if he wanted to wait out. But I think it makes sense what all parties did. It's been good for FaZe. I think you can't deny that decision to bring in Alluka and put a bit of pressure on their starting team. Let's talk about the other couple of series, though, that were going down. Boston Breach, they dropped Doug the other day, and you know what they say, no Doug, no dub. And I actually could believe my eyes watching this. It was incredibly predictable, unfortunately. I do have a bit of a soft spot for this Boston team, but it was exciting to see Surge with TJ Halley back in business. How are they going to get on? Well, Boston beat them game 1 relatively easily, beat them game 2 relatively easily. And this was the game mode where with Lqgend, Surge were just atrocious, right? And it makes sense. It's like a game mode that you want to pick up. Makes sense that teams with inexperienced players are going to struggle. But this is a game mode that Surge have been woeful at. But they get their first map win, right? I mean, they lost all the maps in December. They went down 2-0 here. It's looking like, damn it, these guys are going to get 3-0'd again. That would be a pretty bad look. But no, they get the map win. They then take the game 4 and they go to a game 5. And I always felt like if this goes game 5, especially in that type of scenario, you know, Boston, they are a team that can mentally crumble. And again, it's a weird one with Boston. They've swapped out Awakening for Nasty. I think it's a step in the right direction for them. But again, Boston in this spot where they make some strange mistakes and poor mistakes and they end up getting cooked in this search and destroy bad in the final map of the series. But yet there's never really much question about their roster, right? It's kind of expected that they'll just kind of stick it out again. But Snoopy was trying his best the final couple of maps. Of course, he really is the star player, but this is what he does, right? This is what TJ Halley does. Put him in a game 5, drops a 3 KD and takes the victory. So Boston go down, a pretty big loss for them, really. Giving Surge their first win of the season. It's one of those losses, it might be important for Major 1, who knows, in terms of seeding. But also, you never know, right? You look back at World Championship qualification, could this be a key 10 points down the line? Because it was absolutely a winnable series. And yeah, Snoopy, again, 1.13, tried his best. He's been Boston's best player. And I think in many respects, he's probably only getting better. But yeah, map 4 Nasty, shockingly, didn't come to play this time. They go down on the dead. I guess he can't bail them out every single time. TJ says, feels good to be back. Teammate to Gross GG's. We won in his 11th year now competing. Now, I won't do the whole series here. I'll discuss it in finality tomorrow morning. But we had a very entertaining first couple of maps of this Gentlemates versus Cloud9 series. It's still ongoing as I'm recording this. But yeah, I mean, wow. Cloud9 versus Gent. This map on the Den was outrageous. I mean, there was at least two occasions, I thought Cloud9 had it won, but somehow they lose it, 252-49. They bounced back and they brought the composure to actually still win the Search and Destroy game 2 though. So yeah, entertaining couple of series for this evening, but very much interested to your thoughts on all of this stuff in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new, take care, and I'll see you next time.
I was not expecting that today. Let's get the NPC out.
Why
don't just put it the fuck away. I mean, FaZe agreed to let him use it.
They've got to be fired up.
It's not about this.
They had the grueler of a schedule to start.
I mean, shit, they look good. What could you say? FaZe fucking stomped their shit in.
Yeah, they just.
Yeah, today was ugly, man.
FaZe
You
looks.
Their teamwork looked good. Their guns were hot. They look good in every game mode.
Tiff, you know what to do.
Yep, can't think of a better time for an ad.
No, I'm not even saying that. I'm saying ban CEO.
Oh shit. Never mind.
Get it out. Tough series, tough showing from the boys today. Still 3-1, but that series was ugly. Don't ever want to see that, and that just gives FaZe so much confidence over us going into the major. They're gonna